Hello, everybody, and welcome to Weekly News. I still can't really believe what I'm about to say, but last Thursday, the 9th of January, shortly after our last episode of Weekly News, our co-host Nico Jansen suddenly and tragically passed away at his home in Munich. He was just 43 years old. Nico was a hugely respected industry professional and business owner, but more importantly, he was a devoted father, a loving son, and a dear and loyal friend to so many of us. Of course, Weekly News will never be the same again without Nico, and we'll be taking a break from the show for the next few weeks while we think about what we can do next in a way that honours Nico's memory. Before that, though, I thought it was appropriate to bring together some of Nico's close industry friends here on the podcast that he loved so much, so that we could each speak a little about how much Nico meant to us and celebrate his life and his legacy. So I'd like to thank all of our guests, Bernd, Carolina, Pierre, Sasha, and Roger, for being with us today at this incredibly difficult time. It's a comfort to be together with others who loved Nico. Unfortunately, there is no shortage of us out there. If I may, I'd like to reflect a little about the impact Nico had on me and my life. I came to know Nico primarily through the Weekly News show, which we presented together for almost 2 years, more or less every week. I think it speaks volumes about Nico's generosity of spirit that he gave up his time in his very busy schedule, no matter what else he had going on, to come here and share his time with me each and every week. Of course, he wasn't just doing it for my benefit or for the benefit of Next.io. He genuinely cared about sharing his knowledge with our audience, many of whom had the good fortune to know him personally. Nico was not a gatekeeper of knowledge. In fact, he was the complete opposite and would willingly share everything he knew to the benefit of others. I now realize what an extraordinary privilege it was to be able to spend regular time with Nico every Thursday. And it was always a highlight of my week. I can only hope that it was for Nico as well. No matter what else was going on in my life at the time, if I'd had a difficult day or a stressful week, as soon as Nico and I got together, none of that mattered. His overwhelming positivity and larger than life sense of fun was impossible to resist. And when we spent time together, he would always have me smiling and laughing no matter what. I suspect the same is probably true for all of us here. Nico had a rare ability to make you feel like you were the most important person in the world. To call him a friend was an incredible privilege, and it gives me some comfort, at least, to know that his spirit of kindness, generosity, humour, and fun might live on through those of us whose lives he touched. Nico will be forever missed by so many, and I only hope that we can carry his legacy through with us into the future by keeping him in our hearts and embodying at least some small fraction of his positivity, kindness, and passion. The only other thing I'd like to say before we move on to our next speaker is that there is an ongoing fundraiser taking place on behalf of Nico's family. So if anyone watching or listening is wondering what they can do to help at this difficult time, you can scan the QR code in the corner of your screen or search Just Giving Nico Jansen to make a donation and help relieve some of the pressure on Nico's family at this incredibly difficult time. And with that, I'd like to pass the conversation over to Bernd, who knew Nico for a very long time and was a very dear friend of his. And I think before Bernd says a few words, we'd like to show just a short slideshow video of some photos of Nico over the years.
Yeah, it's very sad to see that. And I've met Nico probably at one of his first shows when he worked at his startup Bedit Best. And I met him in Barcelona at a show, and he was a greenhorn to the industry at that time. So, I was already a couple of years with my bed, and I introduced him to most of my industry friends. Nico picked it up so quickly that it turned to a point where Nico, especially after the connection with Next and his podcast, has known more people than me. And that was a bit of flip when he introduced me to people like Carolina and Sasha and others. And even my family, let's say iGaming family, has grown through Nico. We traveled to nearly every conference, organized everything up front, hotels, dinners, meetings, events, and we shared all the information. So we both have had. So I can't even think about 2 or 3 days a week. I haven't been in touch with him. So we had nearly daily minimum chats, but often even calls. So if I needed an information, I called him. If he wanted to get backup information or to confirm an information, he asked me. And if I can confirm that with my contact. So this was from both sides on and on, and he will be missed. Sorry. So it was for me one of the important or most important contacts I've had in the industry, and we would need him for the next 20 years at least. So it's really tragically that he passed away so unforeseen and suddenly. Thanks, Connor, for this opportunity, and I will hand over.
Okay, so I think I'll take over from here, Bernd, and thank you for sort of starting with this conversation. It's not easy to be on this forum. I'm very privileged you guys invited me. Me and Nico have not been friends for such a long time because it's probably something around 3 or 4 years, so much shorter than many of you. But it was an intense friendship to some extent and very connected to this very event that we are here because The weekly news originated from Clubhouse sessions, which myself and Pierre and Nico used to host together. And that's how we met. We just talked about it before the podcast. So in general, the whole journey of Next, my journey and Nico are very intertwinedly connected for me. So I appreciate the opportunity to be here. And until I think the sad day and sad news were announced, I didn't realize that the perception I've had of Nico was not my own, that it's such a widely shared perception and impact on people industry. I think we all realize now that he wasn't nice to some people. He wasn't supportive to some people. He wasn't great friends with some people. He was that person with almost everyone. And it's so seen through the outpour of love and support from literally all sides of the world. I find Nico one of the most positive and genuine people in this industry. He was also one of the most supportive people I met on my founder journey, particularly, with his opportunities to speak on panels and weekly news. Whenever there was any news of our success, he made sure that it's being given the biggest spotlight of this episode, and there was absolutely no personal hidden agenda in it. It was just his way of showing support, encouragement, and I have appreciated that in him deeply. As a matter of fact, you just did the annual wrap up where some of our news were featured, and he's just said such nice words on this podcast, and I reposted them on my social media, and I made a note to reach out to him personally and just highlight to him how impactful that was for me and how important it was for me that he was always so much in our corner. And I didn't get to it, because then the next message I got was about his passing, and from someone that didn't know, that I had no idea. So it hit me like a brick. I think I called Pierre almost immediately, because I just wanted to talk to someone that would feel the way I feel. And it's rare that you meet someone in the industry in not such an intense relationship where you don't have that many business dealings, but it's very much the media journey and the media platform that connects you, yet you feel so close to them, and you feel such a great loss when they depart. I feel heartbroken for his little girl. I have a son that is not much younger than her, so I can only imagine that this is the absolute end of the world for her. But I think, we're seeing that we have some family members in this chat. Hopefully, it can be passed on how loved, respected, and appreciated her father was in our community, which was his life and legacy. So this is all I have to say. I will always remember Nico with a massive smile. I will always remember us sitting across each other on the Elizabeth line with those stupid hats going to eyes, and the way his face lit up when he saw me, because that was his sign of recognition. He lit up with all of himself when he saw people that he was close with, and that was pretty uncomparable from anyone else. So I will pass it on to Roger now. I'm very grateful to have had Nico in my journey, in my life, and in the industry, a chapter of it.
Yes, thank you, man. I think the way I want to start is just to say like how selfless of a person Nico was. Whenever there was anything he could do for anyone, he would be there, and it didn't matter whether he had to be somewhere for business or he had to do anything. He would just be there. And I'm so glad I got to know him also on a personal level, where it's just it was just like you were on the same wavelength as him at all times. And we had a lot of arguments about politics. We had a lot of arguments about who's going to be the fastest growing company. There was a lot of arguments about about just principles in life. If you should should offer someone their seat, or if you shouldn't do it because some people might be offended or whatever. So it's I just really want to remember the the happy memories here that we've had with him, and I'm just trying to keep it together. Sorry. We've set this page up because to support his family. There was so many things that he still wanted to do, and I also appreciate the close contact I've had with his brother Björn, who's in this chat here as well, and I also appreciate the close contact with the mother of his child as well. And we've set this up to support the family and to support his most important thing, which is his little girl. And I hope that we can get together as much money as possible, and in that way for his legacy to carry on. And as you can hear, his legacy is a great one. And I wish that at some point I will be half the man that he was. And I thank everyone very much for their donations, and really appreciate everyone's kind words for him. And he will always be remembered as a great friend. And also thank you for next on giving a platform for this donation. So he will always be remembered in a good way. And I'll pass it on from here because thank you.
Sasha, I don't know if anyone's having the same problem. I can't hear you. You might be on mute.
There we go. Can you hear me?
Thank you.
So obviously it's a very tragic thing what's happened, a massive loss to all of us. And I'm so glad to see that Bjorn, his brother, is on the chat. He's commenting about the love and appreciation that his family is feeling, which is obviously something we're glad that the family is feeling from us. My journey with Nico was also not very long. It's come full circle with Next.io. I met him backstage a couple of years ago, my very first time on stage or on a panel sort of situation. And I was beyond nervous. And obviously to have Nico by your side, he was on my team. It's the first time I ever met him, and he just brought his energy on fire. And through that experience on stage with him, I got to realize how little I knew about iGaming. And I got off the stage and I said to him, my goodness, like, your wealth of knowledge is just unbelievable. You need to teach me, please teach me. And he just laughed at me, goes, Sunshine, you've got this. And that was so something he would say, and he just kind of took me under his wing, and we became really fast friends. And that's just such a Nico thing to say. Like, he just brushed it off like it was nothing. And in December, we had a South Africa edition a couple of weeks ago, and it was amazing how it had come full circle. And for him and I, it was a very proud moment. He looked like kind of like a proud mentor / dad, because he had really helped mentor and coach me, and we had check-ins and phone calls all the time, a couple of times a week. And it was that he was testing me, sharing, making sure I was keeping my finger on the pulse. And he really stuck true to that word that day, where he was like, okay, I'm gonna keep you to this. And it was an amazing moment, and it was really incredible how it kind of came all full circle. But I think as Nico himself, he is just an amazing supporter, an incredible friend. Whatever you need help with, he'll be there for you. Even if you've just met him briefly backstage, he's always willing to give and to share. And for me, walking into ICE, I feel a little bit smaller without him. I always felt a little bit taller, a little bit more supported, more loved, more cherished. Always knew that if anything happened, Nico would be there. And I would walk in a little bit, my head a little bit taller and a little bit more confidence, because I think we all felt very supported and very cherished and very loved by him. And that loss is going to be immense. And I was really dreading going to ICE. And then I keep thinking about the phone calls when he phones me and something's happened in life, and he would always just give me a talking to. We had lots of fights where I'd not be in the best of moods. He would not put up with it. And he's like, he would give me a proper talking to. He's like, everything's awesome. Everything's going to be fine. You've got to bring more to your game and stop this. And that's kind of the attitude I want to take to Barcelona, is that he wants us to all be happy to see each other and share moments of joy and laughter about his shoes or something funny that we remember him by. But it's just remember his energy, and he always demanded that of us, to kind of bring the best to any sort of situation, happiness and joy, because he always reminded us how good life was. And I think his biggest achievement in life, and I was smiling at some of the photos specifically of his daughter, was his daughter. Anyone who's close to us, close to him or had any dealings with him, knows how incredibly proud he was of her. And that's by far his biggest achievement, is the amazing little girl she is, and what an incredible father he is with her. And that was his best moments, and his smiles are definitely a million times brighter and a million times wider whenever he talks about her or any photos of her. And what a blessing to have had him as a father. And that's pretty much, in a nutshell, all I can say about him. Trying to be brave, but I love him to bits and pieces, and I'll miss him dearly, and it's a huge loss to everyone in industry.
Yeah, thank you, Sasha. Wanted to mention as well that we see all the comments that are coming in through the chats here as well, and specifically it's great to see that we have Björn, Nico's brother, tuning in here as well. And I think, I would like to speak to Björn and the family a little bit. It's we gather here today to talk about our memories of Nico from an iGaming industry perspective. This is one part of his professional life, and it's really hard to overstate how incredibly loved Nico was in the industry, as hopefully we can get a taste of here today. But I think at least 100 people reached out to me after the tragic news of last week, and it really put in perspective what an imprint he made on so many people of the industry. Not only did so many people know him, but he really made an impression on so many people within this industry. And the stories that people shared with me are just amazing. As an example, Nico would send Christmas cards to people within the industry, handwritten Christmas cards with personal notes to people that he would meet at the conferences, just to tell them how much he appreciated them. He would hand sign them and send them every year. It just goes. I think that summarizes Nico as a human being more than anything. He would just go above and beyond to show his appreciation and love for the people around him, and make the people around him feel really special. The way I met Nico was, as Carolina also pointed out, me and Carolina met Nico together when we started our clubhouse spontaneous conversations, breakfast conversations on Thursday, 10 in the morning, breakfast chat. We did it 52 weeks in a row, and me and Carolina started it just for fun. And we had no idea people were going to turn up, but the first session we did, Nico was there, and he joined our conversation about the industry and everything and nothing. The second week, he turned up again. The third week, he was there also. And so after a couple of weeks, me and Carolina promoted Nico to a co-host. So it became me, Carolina, and Nico that ran the clubhouse chats every Thursday, 10 a.m. And we did it as clockwork. We didn't miss a beat for over a year. Those sessions eventually became what we are here today in the weekly news, which at that time was hosted by me and Nico, and then between Connor and Nico. So we are somewhat going full circle here today. It was the origin story that led us to this very moment here. I want to also mention, for those of you who listen in, that on Monday at 5:30 p.m. In Barcelona, we will be hosting a memorial in person in memory of Nico. Anyone who would like to attend and share their own stories are welcome to do so. The memorial is taking place in the main stage of ICE in Hall 5 at 5:30 p.m. Of course, we are also keeping the donation open for that event as well, that Roger has kindly set up. And I want to just end on a positive note here today. Nico set an example for the entire industry to follow. They say that it's impossible to change the world, but I think the way to change the world is to be a positive force for the people around you. And if you think about it, you are one step away from 1,000 people. You are 2 steps away from 1 million people and 3 steps away from 1 billion people. So if you can be a good person and lift others up around you and show a great example, those people will follow their lead. And in effect, those people will inspire others to do the same. So if we want to wrap this up in a nice way here today, I think Nico has done his part to make the world a little bit better for everyone. So yes, thank you from my side.
Thank you, Pierre, and thank you everyone for being here, despite how difficult it might be. I'd just like to reflect on a couple of the things that you've shared with us today before we go. Carolina, Sasha, you both mentioned that you hadn't known Nico perhaps for as long as others, and neither had I. I knew him for 2 or 3 years, and I think it's a testament to his character and the personality that he had, that once Nico was in, he was in. He loved you and he gave you everything he had to give, even if you'd only known him for a short time, and it just speaks to his generosity and his kindness. The other thing I'd like to say about Nico's daughter, of course, as I mentioned earlier, we did an episode on the same day that Nico passed away last week, and it was our first episode back after our Christmas break. So when we were backstage before the show, I was chatting to Nico. I said, "Did you get any nice Christmas presents?" And he said, "Well, besides spending quality time with my little one, there's really no present I could ever wish for that's better than that. So Christmas was just perfect." And Bjorn, thank you for joining us. And you said in the comments that you had a wonderful Christmas together as well, and I'm so glad that you did. I think the important thing, as we've all said already, is that we keep Nico's memory alive, and we don't stop talking about him, and we never stop remembering him and the positive force that he brought into the world and into all of our lives. So thank you all again for being here to remember Nico today. And of course, we will always remember him. Would anybody like to say anything else before we finish the episode today?
Yeah, I just want to quickly say, whilst we're talking, we've now just crossed the £20,000 mark, and all I can say is, a huge thank you to this wonderful industry of people that have come together and just put in whatever they could. I mean, there's been so many donations that are way and above £100. I mean, which is crazy, right? I mean, we're now. There's been 116 people that have donated, and we're at over 20,000, which is just insane. I've never seen this in my life before. That something like this is happening out of so few supporters, and I just also during the show there was a huge donation of £5,000 from someone who's anonymous, and I just want to say from the bottom of my heart to everyone, not just those that donate as much, but to literally everyone who give anything here, you know, and you can see it on the screen now. This goes towards the cost of the funeral, and this also most of it will go towards a fund that his daughter Helena will be able to use later on in life. And I just think this is, you know, such a special thing. And like I said, all I can say is just a big thank you. And you know, again, you know, thank you for everyone who's given this link, you know, a huge platform so as many people as possible can see it. So I just, you know, just want to say my my heartfelt, you know, thank you to everyone who's been part of this so far.
Yep. Thanks, Roger, for starting that, because I have known that Nico had some future plans, but he was still too young and thought he has plenty of time to organize things for himself and for his daughter. So knowing that with the changing situation of the sports betting license in Germany, so his startup idea was not working that well as he expected. So we know that the couple of last years was really, really difficult in Germany. Yeah, so there was intermediary phase, then the license, and it was all difficult to manage. So he was now in the situation so to start some new projects with some of our well-known friends. And within the next few years, it would have been worked out for him. So, and it's a big mess that he can't see it growing, and he can't harvest the fruits from that he did. And but in the meantime, as every one of you said, so he was helping everyone, and this is what was his big personality. So that there was no question, there was always with a smile, and he was always giving and sharing all his knowledge. So, and probably he has met also some others like him, so where we gave him something, and that now shows with the charity that we give something back.
Yeah, it's an amazing achievement, Roger, and well done for setting that up. And yeah, just want to echo your thanks to everyone who's made a donation. It will make a big difference, and it's absolutely a testament to how much love there is out there for Nico. I love him. I know you all love him too, and he will be dearly missed. Maybe we're ready to wrap up there, guys. Thank you, everybody, for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, everyone.